Ymedia Group, the fastest growing media group in North America.
Hello everyone, my name is Ymedia. I'm the group editor at Ymedia. And we did hear the news recently. We all know the diplomatic ties between Canada and India, their tensions once again. Both the sides have expelled the diplomats. Canada has expelled the Indian diplomats, including the High Commissioner of India, Sanjay Kumar Verma. And India has also retaliated with expelling the diplomats. We also heard a press conference where RCMP Commissioner was leading this press conference, and RCMP has alleged that the agents of the Indian government are involved in criminal activity right here in Canada. We have Member of Parliament Paul Chiang with us. Sir, a very warm welcome on behalf of the Canadian government. We'd like to welcome you on Ymedia. How are you, sir?
I am good, Mr. Jaswal. Thank you so much for your kind invitation to speak on your channel this afternoon.
Yes, thank you so much for your time, sir. Sir, first of all, take us through this process. Now, it was Thanksgiving, and we were all celebrating, but here comes the RCMP commissioner and announcing this. Why? What was the reason? What is the safety threat for a public in general? What should the public know now, please?
Well, as you know, the RCMP has conducted an investigation in regards to numerous things that are happening, criminal activities that are happening in Canada. And this is right across the country. And these are criminal activities against our South Asian communities. And that's why this investigation was started for that reason. And it's an ongoing investigation, as the RCMP commissioner has outlined in his press conference. So we cannot diverge much more than what is the RCMP has said about that, because it is a police investigation, and because the parties have to be brought in front of the court. And if you talk about anything before that, it can temper the case, the court case itself, and we cannot discuss that at this time. As you know, my background as a police officer, I served for 28 years in policing in Canada, so I understand investigation quite well.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, sir. We do understand that. A few things here. One of the confusions that I had, after listening to the press conference and earlier the news that was coming out from the Indian media earlier, the Indian media was saying this, that India rejects the claim that their diplomats are in any way involved in the murder of Hardeep Nijjar. But when I heard the press conference, the RCMP commissioner did not link today's press conference directly to Hardeep Nijjar. So they said, we're not talking about specific cases. So they were talking in general. So now, because now I want to ask you, our Foreign Affairs Minister, Melanie Joly, she has signed, she's made these 6 Indian diplomats, we have expelled them from our Canadian soil, and we have given them the time to leave to Canada. My question is, are we expelling these diplomats because of general cases, or are they linked in any way to Hardeep Nijjar murder?
Well, like the RCMP has not mentioned specifically about this murder, I cannot also specify about that. What happened is, our government asked the Indian government to cooperate on investigation that's happening in Canada. The Indian diplomats did not want to cooperate with us, to work with us so that we can investigate this and get the perpetrator in front of a court. But since they did not want to work with us, so we then expelled the 6 diplomats from Canada.
Okay. I was just listening to a former Foreign Affairs Minister, Peter MacKay, recently, his interview on CBC. Former Foreign Affairs Minister Peter MacKay is saying US has handled this very differently. US also has the same challenge. There was assassination attempt in US as well. So US is still going on strong with their trade relationship. Recently, we saw Prime Minister Modi there at the Quad Summit, welcomed by the President Joe Biden. So as the former Foreign Affairs Minister Peter MacKay is suggesting, we could have handled this under the radar in a diplomatic effort rather than openly accusing India on the floor of the parliament. This is what former Foreign Affairs Minister Peter MacKay said on CBC earlier today. Your comments on this?
Thank you so much for that question. I cannot speak about what Peter MacKay has spoken. Peter MacKay is not in government at this point, and what he's saying it as a private citizen. Our investigation is based on our investigation for the Canadian Police Department across Canada with the RCMP, and based on their investigation, that's the follow-up that we have done. In speaking about diplomatic government-to-government relationship is still going on. Our people-to-people ties with India is very, very strong. We have a very large South Asian community right across Canada, especially in the GTA. And in my riding of Markham, we have lots of South Asians living here, and we have a great relationship with them. And in regards to business trade, we will still continue doing trade with India. And our country, Canada is a country that works with every country in regards to trade because we have a large people-to-people tie between India and Canada. So, people are coming here all the time, and we are still welcoming Indian citizens to come here to visit us.
You made some very good points, sir. And I must agree that you're right that, yes, our ties with India and the South Asian region, we need a partner here. Recently, our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, we've interviewed him many times, but the recent discussion that we had with Prime Minister Trudeau, when we asked Prime Minister Trudeau recently that our relationship with India, so Prime Minister Trudeau, it was an interesting remark. I've heard first time he said, these are the two largest democracies. Prime Minister Trudeau said Canada in terms of size, and Prime Minister Trudeau said India in terms of population. I said, I've heard this first time. It was an interesting thing. But my question remains the same. Last time when the tensions escalated, India stopped giving visas to Canadian citizens. And this time, now the tensions are again escalating. There is a concern in the community, and they come to media once again. We hope that India does not restrict any visas. India does not sanction on trade because there's a lot depending on both sides. Your comments, how do we normalize? How do we take this relationship, further? That's my question.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jaswal, for that question. We cannot dictate what India does or Indian government does in terms of trade or visas for Canadians traveling to India. We cannot dictate what they do and how they handle it. We, as a Canadian government, we are still welcoming Indian citizens to come and visit us. They are always welcome to come and visit us. And in terms of trade, we are always open for trade with India and any other country that wants to trade with us.
Great. And also, I would want to ask you, because the allegations are very serious. The allegations made by our CMP for our, intimidation. There's also extortion that I heard, and also homicides, and they're talking in plural here. So I want to understand a little bit more. Is it only a case of Hardeep Singh Nijjar murder, or there are also, because extortion, now we are talking about extortion. These are all criminal activities, talking extortion, we're talking homicides. We're also alleging here, intimidation. So because there are recent concern about extortion in particular and intimidation in particular. So are we attributing all this to the agents of Indian government here?
Well, as you know, this is an ongoing investigation. As Canadian government and the Canadian Police Service, our job is to keep Canadians safe. Regardless of what background you come from, our job is to keep Canadians safe. And currently, as per the RCMP, there are multiple investigations going on in terms of intimidation, extortion, and various crime. Under the Canadian rule of law, it is a crime, and we are investigating it to the fullest. The RCMP is also working with the 5 partners around the world to ensure that we keep Canadians safe, and other countries are also assisting us in these investigations so that we can get to the bottom of who's causing what issues, and we will arrest those that we find have committed those crimes. So extortion, intimidation, or homicide or robbery, those under the Criminal Code of Canada is serious crime, and we will investigate it to the fullest.
Since you just mentioned, and I totally agree with that, and this is a great point. We thank our government, whether it's a liberal or conservative, we like to thank our government that yes, you're taking up this job very seriously of making sure that the Canadians feel safe here. But I also want to highlight at this point, recently, our fellow Canadian journalist, he was attacked in Calgary for covering an important issue. Yes, there are other journalists as well who sometimes are concerned. And yes, in the past as well, for covering the Khalistan issue, Canadian journalists are attacked. We also know former Premier of British Columbia, Ujjwal Dosanjh, was also attacked. And this is a concern in the journalistic fraternity that yes, if we cover these issues, we could face severe backlash and we could also face some violence. So what is the Canadian government? Two questions. Is the government aware of this, that the journalists are being attacked and they feel intimidated? Secondly, what is the government doing to make sure that we as journalists do our job?
Well, as you know, we always welcome journalism and freedom of expression under the charter. We all protected for that. You're allowed to do your job. If any journalists are attacked or the former premier is attacked, they need to make a report to the police. The police will then investigate these cases and follow up if there are charges related to those things. Right now, our country is so polarized. Even sitting politicians are being attacked. So every case we have to look at it individually, and that's why our police service are independent from politics, and they do their job. And once we have these cases, they will look at it, they will investigate, and if there is threat directly to journalists, they will be notified that this is what's happening and keep yourself safe. Of course, you always have to be aware of your surrounding to keep yourself safe, regardless if you're a journalist or you're a citizen or just normal people walking around in Canada. Everybody has to keep safe, and we want to make sure everybody stays safe.
Last two questions very quickly. One thing is that, yes, I've heard the concerns from the Indian side as well. Their concerns are always that Canada is soft on terrorism, Canada is soft on Khalistan movement. Although I did, and they've mentioned recently in their statement, the statement that I was witnessing, the 2018 Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's trip to India. And I must say I was one of the very few, or actually I was the only one journalist which was able to interview one-on-one at our Channel Y studios with our Honorable Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He came, he explained us. I asked him all the questions, and I've asked him many times, and many of your fellow colleagues, they've all said, no, we do not support Khalistan. We stand for United India. And our Prime Minister has said that in India as well. But still they are concerned. They say, no, there is some soft approach from our government on the issue of Khalistan. I was asked this question on CBC. I said, I don't think so. Our government is soft on Khalistan. We reacted. But still, India said in the statement this morning as well, Canada's approach is very soft on extremism and Khalistan. So what do you have to say on that?
Well, again, our police investigation is completely independent from politics. If there is any terrorist activities in Canada on Canadian soil, our police will investigate it to the fullest, and they will not let anything go by. In terms of being soft on crime, we are not soft on crime. Every investigation for us is a serious investigation, and we make sure that we look at each investigation individually, independently also.
All right. My last question, you used an important word, and I agree, that's polarization. This is in general as well. So we've seen, especially what's happening in Middle East, what's happening in India or Pakistan, or this Khalistan issue. These are issues which are happening abroad. We have many issues here in Canada, and that's why at Ymedia we started a program, Canada First. We need to focus on our infrastructure, healthcare, education. We have a host of challenges here with economy, inflation. So what do we do as a journalist, as a society, as Canadians, as government? What do we do together so that we bring back the approach, Canada First? We understand we have people from both sides of the fences, but what should we do so that we have a less polarized society, we have a more civilized society? What do we do?
Thank you, Mr. Jaswal, for that important question. I personally believe in Canada First myself, because this is my home. I've been living here now for 47 years, and I always talk to people about this is our home. This is how we have to live together, work together to grow our economy, to grow our country, right? Because it's very important for us to be prosperous and live together in peace. We come from different parts of the world because we are leaving strife or economic reasons or for other political reasons. We come to this country. We want to make this country great. We don't want to change it to the country where we came from, because we want to make sure that we are a free society and we also living in a law-abiding society, and we work together to grow and live and work together. It doesn't matter what religion or what background you come from.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Hopefully, whenever you get a chance, we'll have you here at our Channel Y studios. But I really appreciate your time on Thanksgiving Day. Though we have some challenges, but I'll still say happy Thanksgiving to you and your entire family, your entire team members, and your colleague, and especially at Prime Minister office. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Mr. Jaswal, and happy Thanksgiving to you also.
Thank you. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye.
Ymedia Group, the fastest growing media group in North America.